Me? There we go. Hello. Decided to change the audio input again on me, but that should be good. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the art team office hours. We will be joining, or Ru Shen will be joining us soon. Actually, right behind the camera joining in, so I'll kind of scoot this over a little bit. Yeah. So it is being a little wonky.
Hey there.
Yeah, there we go.
Too late, am I?
Hello.
Hello.
Ah, there we go.
Got your audio set up?
Let's see if people can hear you. Yeah, people could hear you. Figured start the stream in this world.
Yeah.
Oh, I got something to show you as well too, as well as the stream. If you haven't
Cool.
checked the vlog yet. Oh yeah. Thing just went out for office hours, so be a little. But for those tuning in, welcome to the art team office hours. Anything and all content creation, making like models, textures, avatars, worlds within Resonite. Definitely the perfect place to ask about that, as well as what the art team has been up to, whether it be our efforts to improve the beginner's experience or any other kind of projects that we're ending up working on or improving. I'll get some screenshots that I took from Blender real quick. Let's see here. Go to my ShareX folder. Bingo. This one. 2 more to go. So one of these things I could work on potentially even during stream, but it's the second one. There we go.
I'm so tall, I can't even see my head in frame. Out the back up a little bit. There we go.
There we go. Also, I don't want to have my wings in your face either, so I'm gonna move Twitch chat over here.
You're still live, right? Because it's frozen
Yes.
for me on Twitch.
On Twitch? Really?
Yeah. Maybe it's just my internet.
I mean,
You guys hear us?
like,
Oh, there we go. Now it's working.
I'm just gonna refresh my browser so I can see. Okay, it is working.
Yeah, it's working now. It was frozen for a little bit. It might be related to some of the bad weather people are having right now. Cool.
Okay, Nuki-kun asks, what isn't or isn't fair game to be added to the Resonate Essentials? I asked for the star panorama for the other day, and bird sounds before that. I don't know what y'all are wanting to put in there. So, in regards to the essentials, that's something that we're still kind of like trying to get the kind of like submission process streamlined, so it's easy for not just one of us to kind of go through.
Yeah. As it is right now, it would take a lot of work and like our time away from other things in order to set up some of those processes. So,
Yeah. Hope you stay safe, Dynamis. Spooky weather over there.
mm-hmm.
Like one of the things I'll do say about the submission process, we're probably going to change it from folders to like item submission. It's like with folders, uh, like with people uploading folders into here, anybody can just like update those folders, and we would have to see if there's like anything that might change with people's folders with content. That means we would have to review it. So it's probably best to just submit items. We'll update the submission process with that. It's because it's kind of like a static thing that, well, people will be able to share within the essentials. And something with folders, that means anybody can just put anything in a folder and it will just update. Things like a workshop system would basically remove this issue entirely and just allow people to just upload things just like worlds. But with
There were
go ahead.
when people had submitted some stuff before, there were a lot of like public folders people submitted, which I think is what people generally want to do. But then they also have other people's public folders inside those public folders, so it's hard to go through and vet one if it has just a link after link after link. It just kind of keeps snowballing.
Yeah. There we go. I see there's now more folks tuning in. Again,
Mm-hmm.
with the intro, I'm Aegis Wolf, and this is Rushan, part of the
Hello.
art team. And this is the art team office hours. So if any of you have questions about content creation within a platform, or using the platform for content creation, or general questions about the platform as well too, or what the art team is up to as well, definitely welcome.
Mm-hmm. One of our main focuses has been fixing up a lot of the assets that we used for the Dawn set, which make up the cloud home and the tutorial, the uh, the avatar gazebo.
Would objects that okay, Marith TK asks, would objects that cloud spawn others be allowed, like a tool that spawns red print or open print? That might be a question I would ask Frooks or Prime about.
I
Like,
think
if it's
for right
something
now, we don't want to like do stuff with cloud spawning because it's technically not
supported
proper. Yeah.
fully yet,
Um. Yeah.
yeah,
Like it's fine for people to use, but when it comes to like giving out things, just want to make sure they're not done with like ref hacking or stuff that isn't future proof or fully supported.
yeah. Just keep in mind that's like, if it's something that'll break, if it's something in the essentials, that means more maintenance that we'll have to do on it, or ask the user to update it as well.
Yeah.
And this is why we're kind of changing up how the submission is going to be to make it easier on us, and also to, well, kind of more rely on people to share public folders amongst each other in the community. And as Rue was talking about earlier, uh, we're in the one of the worlds that we're constantly working on the tutorial as well.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, speaking of multi-tool, one of the things that we'll be doing at some point too is updating the default multi-tool that's provided. The original concept of the tools Brooks described of like a base handle, but with like a changing tip at the end, kind of like magnetic almost, where you can just take it and you can put like another one in there, kind of like a drill bit on a drill. At the time of first making this, I didn't really know how to achieve that, but after kind of fiddling around and Ryuvi messing around with multi-tools, they found out a interesting solution. This uses a tool multiplexer. That means, let me spawn out another tool so I can inspect the tool with the tool. So the thing with the multiplexer is you got like a whole static list of tools. Now we don't really have collections yet, nor like ways to access components. So I can only pretty much add the tools manually each time. But the thing is, you can swap out the references of the tools within that list. So if you could dynamically change it, that means you can just have like a set amount of tools you want to do and basically swap it out. You have like say 6 different tools, and those are like the 6 tools that you use most commonly. And you select this slot, or I want to use the dev tool in slot A, and then dev tool or brush in slot D, or something like that. So one of the things with updating the tools is making sure all of the
Yeah.
uh, you're hot miking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just letting you know.
Turn on my noise suppression. There we go.
Um, oh yeah. Uh, tools. Yeah, updating the full set of tools will definitely be necessary to make it compatible with the new multi-tool. And it would also optimize the multi-tool as well, so you're not spawning all however many tools, like I think over 20 tools we got, including one new one that Fruks just added. So I am gonna look in the tools folder. 1, 2, 20 tools, and those are just like all the main tools, and I'm not counting like brushes, brush types, just brush as a single one. That's a lot. Ah, we got a good question from Marty SH. What's the point of the QR code procedural texture if you can't actually scan it in VR? Or two-factor authentication. When you first log into Resonite, it will prompt you to uh, create an account, of course, and also set up two-factor authentication. And it just ended up being a cool thing that you can play around with. It's just a procedural texture that uses like a certain mathematical algorithm to encode whatever kind of text into a QR code.
If you were making an experience as well, that is like, uh, there are some people who have made things that interface with IRL stuff and in-game stuff. So they could have that QR code somewhere in the virtual scene that people in real life can see, and they can scan that code either to go, say, to Resonite's website or to one of their own websites. Like if they have a virtual shop, they can just have that in there. Someone can scan the code, and then boom, it's taken to the website.
You could
There's a lot of
even
different uses you can do for it.
bake the texture because like with any procedural texture, you can bake it into a static one. That way you can export it out of Resonite as an image. Well, you can use it as a form of QR code generator. Yeah, it's like a way to procedurally make that authentication thing. So it's better to make a way where if it's a building block for like a piece of UI, might as well just make it something that anybody can use instead of just it's only available through that one menu. As Rue said, it could be used for anything. So that's pretty much how Resonite works. It's like you don't really necessarily have very specific pieces of code that do things unless if it's, well, for something specific that has to work that way. But a lot of it is just all the building blocks with your model, like an avatar. You're just built out of a rigged mesh, which is like all the bones and the textures and the models and the materials, the lights. You don't necessarily have like a avatar model versus a rigged model or an object. It's just all made out of the same building blocks. Ah, we have yet another question, this time from Platypus 744. Hi, I've been trying to make a particle system where they travel in a circle while moving up. I've been struggling to find a way to do it at a constant speed as the modules that add force will accelerate over time. Any suggestions?
I mean, a really simple one is just to move the whole particle system up while the particle system itself moves itself in a circle.
Or you take the particle system, say like a ring, or not a ring, it's a circular emitter, circle emitter, and with a circle emitter, you can either kind of emit anywhere within the circle radius or on the edges of the circle. Now, say if you want to make like a spirally effect, what you can do is have the particles emit from this circle, and then you have the emitter itself rotate, and there's a way where you can parent the particles. I'm going to switch the camera to my first person real quick. All right, let's get a particle system here. One thing I'd like to note is there's this right here under the particle system. You'll see simulation space. Now what that does is it simulates the particles on whatever space it is. And what I mean space is where it's running under. Right now it's globally running. Now if it's under an object, say itself, now if I move this, the particles will move with it. Now if I go back to global, now it'll just emit. So if I go back to local space and slap a spinner in this case, let's spin it on the y-axis of about like 90. Actually, how about no, that's a little too fast. How about 500? Perfect. Okay, so
Speed.
indeed, we're going to add trails on this. And with trails, you can have trails work on the world space. Now, what that means is that these particles will stay spinning with it, but the trails will kind of follow the particles, but be simulated in the world space. Alrighty, let's see here. Angular velocity. Is there one by default for trails, or do I'll just add a new one in initializers here. So we'll just attach a component. Wait, am I particle system when they're traveling up in a circle? Well, this kind of already covers what you're looking for. So if I go to transform, and what Rue mentioned already too is moving the whole thing. Which if I go
Yeah,
to
that would probably be the simplest. To just
rendering,
have it on a circle and move the whole thing up on local space.
yeah, particle system, and then you got emitters. So you got box, circle, cone, cylinder, line, mesh, point, skin mesh, and sphere. So spiral staircase look. Yeah. I'm just doing the trail stuff to kind of showcase another cool effect that people do and what the teleporter at the end of the tutorial uses. Trail lifetime trail. Is there? Okay, I'm gonna go back to the particle system itself. Is there one thing for trails? Billboard renderer. And I haven't messed with particle trails in a while. uh,
Same.
point. Trails start with a T, so
There you go.
trail lifetime constant initializer. There, oh, particle scale mode at emission. Add this. Okay. Ribbon. Sequence ribbon splitter. Okay, I'm gonna find an example one that I have in my inventory real quick. Because I have not fully explored the particle system myself. It's been going from project to project to project. Okay, here's one that has trails. There we go. Actually, this is pretty much an example of what I was trying to showcase. So it's a particle that's invisible, but the trail isn't. And it's attached to this sphere. So whenever I move this, it looks like an ink brush, kind of like swashing through the sky like that. And what you see is the particle that is like moving around, but it's actually it's the particles that are just emitted from the point it is. But the trail is connected to each different particle that gets made. And so it makes this fade out effect because of how long the particle lives. But yeah, hopefully that helps with describing it. Oh, I forgot I made this one too. This one's using a mesh as a particle. This was fun to make.
Honestly, that one seems pretty similar to the one they wanted to create as well.
Yeah, because you can add a spin to the particles as it goes up. And that I can show you as well. So we go to particle system here. We go to initializers. So you got speed range initializer, that's how fast it goes. But what you need is an angular velocity 3D constant. Now what it means of constant is that's the speed it'll spin at. And there's one where you can kind of change the speed when it starts and stops. That's a different one. But another thing you'll need if you want to add rotation to this is a simulator module. So you need this rotation module. If I turn it off, it looks like a straight ladder with broken sides. But if I turn it back on, it looks like a DNA helix. That actually looks pretty cool, just seeing it replace itself. And you can also see where the garbage collection hitches as well. We have a couple of questions. Yes, Marty, it is particles. And Platypus has yet another question, also still on particles. I was trying to replicate the stars from Outer Wilds and had two questions. Can I start a different particle effect when and where a first particle dies? Okay, if you're trying to make stars, you may not want to use a particle system, rather a procedural mesh. Now let me look for it in the essentials real quick. We'll go to
Can't they just set the
Resonite.
particles so that they have infinite lifetime? That way they don't have to worry replacing them.
There,
They just want the stars to be like there full time.
yes, but there is a mesh that they could use that we used for the skybox in the Cloud Home tutorial world. So I'm in the essentials right now, and under examples, uh, yeah, examples components, procedural meshes. Also, this is where the procedural textures are, including that QR code one. But we're gonna head to procedural meshes this time. And there's a subfolder called point meshes. So I'm gonna double click that, and the first one here is a point cluster mesh. So I'm gonna double click on that and open it up here. And right now it's in a ring, but I'm gonna demonstrate what this is. It's a billboard mesh. It has like all these little textures that always face you. Now, thing is, you can change the shape of this. So I'm going to open this up. So with this point cluster mesh, oh, and you're going to need a special setup for the material as well. I'll show you in a bit. But to kind of demonstrate, right now it says ring for the distribution. So I'm going to click sphere shell. Oh, right now it's actually stretched a little bit because I kind of scaled it. So I'm going to reset its scale. Why is it still... Oh, the noise scale. Was it? Yeah, the scale right there. So I can scale it within the scale right here. I thought it was the scale of the object itself, but you can scale the object as well as scale the particles itself. But right now it's in a sphere. Now you can have like a sphere volume or a sphere shell. In this case, you would need. You technically already have an example of the. Oh, you're talking about the particles. Okay. But yes, this is in the essentials to mess around with. This in particular. Now, yeah, there's a lot to mess around with here, and there's a way to get like randomized colors as well if you want. I recommend kind of opening up the skybox in the tutorial world or cloud home, and you'll see the same kind of setup with that, but with like a different material. In this case, I'm going to look for uh, the mesh render here, which is where the point cluster mesh is. And I'm going to get the material out, and it looks like this. Now with unlit materials, you want to set it up for like a point mesh. I could even apply it to myself. And it basically, oh gosh, that is blinding. It puts a billboard at every single point of the mesh. So I'm going to undo that. And where to find that is all the way down here. where it says use billboard geometry. If I turn that off, does that. Now you can change like the billboard scale if you want, which changes how big each one of these little billboards, they're called, are. You can even have it use vertex colors. So if you have like randomized vertex colors on a model, it'll tint each one of these little things a vertex color. And there's a brush in the essentials that do that too. So if we go to tools here, go to brushes, billboard brushes, and let's select this one here. So this is pretty much the same deal, but a brush is kind of like spewing out different stars, almost like, but at different colors.
Reminds me of Dippin' Dots.
Why are you making me want those? I'll leave that at the side. Then I'll swap out this and see what the other question was. Speed module being set with equal min and max should help me too. Yeah, definitely we can make some more particle examples. So I probably should just add this one to it too, because the particle model here is made out of procedural meshes just baked using the glue tool and just done like this. I'll get some particle effects that I've made throughout the times and make sure they're updated, because some of these are either were made prior to the swap to photon dust or during the swap, so some of them might be using old legacy stuff, so I just gotta update those too. Yeah, I'll take a look at this DNA strand then and put it in the essentials under examples.
Also, for the cactus, you can visit dunes if you want. It's a pretty large desert with a little bit of water.
Let's do let's do this and do world, and or actually manual would be better. I put it over here.
I don't know what that is.
Power Unite. If you're talking about like mini games and stuff, people have, it's like I know Tower Unite has a lot of different mini games, but I'm not too like uh familiar with it. But if you're talking about like the condos, they have like different rooms you can decorate. I know people have made plenty of different worlds within Resonite, whether it be like houses or uh, hotel room to apartments to. I bet there is a condo out there as well they can find. I know definitely with the MMC, there's definitely some games people have made, some small mini games to like full on game worlds. Definitely request check or recommend folks checking out what people have made, as well as to tune into the MMC ceremony this weekend. That's when the winners will be announced. Clean up these inspectors real quick. There we go. I recommend trying to restart Resonite Arizonan. As if you're in Steam VR mode, I'd probably make sure to restart Steam VR sometimes. It might help. But if you're in desktop, yeah, I'd suggest trying to restart it. If you are having
Did you
trouble,
want to?
hmm?
I was gonna ask. Did you want to showcase those pictures you got there?
Oh yeah, the screenshots.
Mm-hmm.
Just check one more thing. I recommend Arizona if you're having still troubles. There's always the Resonite Discord where folks can help you out too. If you're like having trouble starting up the Resonite, or if there's like a actual bug preventing you from running it, I recommend submitting a GitHub issue ticket, or uh, yeah, there's definitely people within the community that can help you out. And mentors. We do have a mentors, not system, but like a program, mentor program, where there are folks that are there to help new and existing users out there learn about Resonite and how it works and how to get used to the platform. They usually, in game, they have like a little icon as like a green light bulb, as well as in Discord. Now, there's one thing I gotta show you in regards to that, real quick. There is a tool you can use within. Let me go to Smooth POV real quick. Run my UI again. Within the Resonate Essentials, there's a accessibility folder. If I double click that, you'll see it's a folder as well as this right here. This is a mute helper. I could up my voice volume real quick. There we go. That might help. Now this will basically allow you to install it to your avatar. Oh, whoops. Install this session here, for example, and then I can go into here and go into new message here. Now what it does, it's probably not visible to, oh, there we go. It pops up a dialog box that follows like users' vision locally. So yeah, it helps a lot. I know some people have made like different add-ons for things like this, things like text to speech or different styles, different fonts. But
I
it's,
even used one that like an auto translator.
yep, something like that is really useful for new users or users who either can't speak or don't have to, really. You got this kind of tool. It's actually community made too. Why did I close the... I actually needed that. There we go. Alrighty. Uh, Before I forget, there's some of the things that I posted on the devlog within the Discord about some new tools that have been in the works. One of them is a new tool. So I go to empty object here and kind of just build it from scratch real quick. It's technically not in a folder yet. Where? Gaussian splat tool. There we go. So right now it doesn't really have a visual, but this is a new tool to edit Gaussian splats within Resonite. Now, it doesn't look like much because it's just a cone, but I went and talked with Ravi last night after Fruits tasked me to make a visual for it. Gonna position these over here. So went and whipped up a model for it. Now the neat thing about this, it has two modes, either to kind of crop out the 3D scans, either in a sphere shape or box shape. So I kind of thought about how to design this stuff. And we thought about having the tool itself change visually depending on what you're doing. And within that little sphere or box, depending on what it is, we'll have like little particles within it. And the cursor will be in the front there, and depending on which mode you have it in, it'll just change the model, how it looks. But yeah, that pretty much summarizes that one. You'll see it hopefully soon. And the other tool is a custom-made tool like the snapper tool, but this time it's kind of more of a brush. Now what this tool is what I use to create the ivy vines that are hanging off of the walls or planters within the tutorial in Cloud Home. And what it does, it creates a tooltip simulator, it's called. It basically allows you to simulate a tool on any object. And what it does, it kind of puts an object where you point it at and puts a tool, as in two brushes, and kind of paints. It paints the ivy vines and leaves all across this path. And I can go into the essentials real quick and drag out the pieces that were made with this tool. The thing about this tool is it's been made like last year when Flux was very new, and yeah, it needs some fixing. It probably needs to be rewritten from scratch. If I go to Dawn Assets here, plants, ivy vines, let's get a small one, but it allows me to create things like this. So I kind of
You can also
covered.
replace the textures and materials to make it a few other objects as you want to.
Yeah. So other than like updating the assets for the tutorial, actually we may as well showcase that too. So I'll go to POV here, and as you can see, there's like pretty much every single piece laid across here in this grid space. Now I'm gonna just do this, and thank you, Jack, for adding that pin button. Now I can take chat with me. So we got like a couple pieces of furniture here. We're gonna update the anchor system that we used in the tutorial to kind of streamline and add a little variety of templates of anchors. We got a lot of different pieces here, been touched up with updated textures and materials, and made sure that, say, these two share the same materials as well. so it's not like duplicate materials.
Hmm.
Updated all the pieces that had like the planters, had like that grass like texture, now it has this kind of plant soil texture. And same with the planters themselves. Added a couple new pieces. The palette that were pretty much almost done, but never really imported yet.
You should show the material relays. And
Yes.
something else we've been doing is editing the colliders. Oh, the that dude.
What? Oh, it cleared itself. Wait,
Yeah.
what? I thought that was the mute helper for the clear all. Okay,
Oh.
I'm gonna look at Okay, there was nothing new. I looked at chat
Yeah.
on my Streamlabs, so I didn't miss any one of your messages. If this thing gets deleted, I can still read them.
So what's interesting is a lot of these had inactive mesh
Ah,
colliders
good.
on them that were still raycastable. What we're doing is removing the mesh colliders and converting them to simple ones, but we still wanted people to be able to switch out the materials just by shooting them. Well, when you switch out the collider, sometimes it doesn't always grab the material you want it to with a material gun. That's where material relays come into in helpful. You can specify which material that collider will apply the gun to. So, for instance, we've set it up so that this one just changes the kind of main theming materials on it, and then the top part is the secondary. Let you kind of customize your models, still keep some customization options for people, and then also make them more performant.
Yeah, still giving users like the option to change out the materials. But if say you wanted to like change out the materials completely at that point, it's better off just learning how the developer tool works and going in and swapping out the materials through there. Let's say if you just wanted to change the floorboards or carpets or walls, something like that definitely would help. Some of the new changes, just mainly like small things here and there. Like the sails here now have like a little glow pattern on it. Originally was going to have a pattern like this. We kind of had it like a just a flat sail texture. I think it's a good change. It's not that much visible during the light, but during at night you'll see the glow much more. Now to explain what does, it just goes to the first material in the list. Unless if you have like a material block policy component which blocks users from applying materials to certain things. It's because technically your avatar is not made out of like the collider of the mesh. It's made out of a whole bunch of capsule colliders, pill-shaped colliders, like say from my finger parts. It's like the top finger is a collider, that's a collider, that's a collider. And there's like a box collider for the hand as a whole. There's a pill collider there, so on and so forth. And shooting the like an avatar, it just picks the first slot it finds, which is my main material. Now that grid material. Or if I take this, now I'm made out of fabric.
The neat thing is that you don't even have to have the material on the object that the material relay is affecting. If you wanted to, you could make like a little tiny, I don't know, sphere somewhere, and then link multiple materials to that sphere and change an entire scene by changing that one object's material. Or even if you wanted to do that for your avatar.
One of the things we're thinking of doing for the cloud home, at least, is think of like a pallet wheel or like a pallet shelf or so. Something where you can just put a material in a slot and it will apply that material that you put in there and to whichever parts you want it to be. It's like a way to just easily customize it. Because you can take the reference of this material, of what material's in that slot, and say, hey, I want to use this material, and it references that on whichever materials or objects you want it to use that material. Could work with models, could work with pretty much any kind of asset, like textures even too. People have done that in the past where say you have like an avatar creator and you have like a little item frame and it's for like a texture and then you swap out the main texture of the avatar with your own and you just save it and it's that version of the avatar but with a different texture. This is just something that I made real quick with procedural meshes to kind of take with me and make sure I'm using the same materials. These are all within the essentials right now, by the way. So if I go into, actually I gotta turn on private UI again. There we go. If I go to the Resonite Essentials, go to Assets, Resonite Assets, Dawn Assets, and Dawn Materials. That's where all the materials we've used for pretty much everything here except for the very specific ones done or are placed and deduplicated. So even if I say spawn this out from here and place it on a object there, the next time I save this world, if the material that's on this model right here is identical in every way as this one right here that I just spawned out, it'll just make it as one. And same with anything else that shares that texture or material in this case. That way you're not saving a duplicate of it over and over again. And that's what happens with your inventory as well. If you make a small edit to your avatar, like say change the color of the material, you save your avatar, the only thing that gets saved technically is that change. Unless if you add like a new texture, then you're adding that memory of the texture onto your storage. Which saves both you and us on storage. Is that way you're not saving the same thing over and over again.
By the way, we have 5 minutes left, so don't forget to ask any questions if you have anything you're thinking about or want some more clarity on.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else I'd like to mention?
We atlased all the plants.
Yes, that was one of the other things we did too. Went through all the existing plants and all the old ones used like individual materials. So went into
And
Blender,
textures.
yes, and textures, and basically put all the textures onto one, or leaves and needles and all that into one texture. There's technically only two materials, one for the trees and one for the plants. And of course you got the bark on the trees, but that's a different material as well. But it's to get the different displacement or the waviness of the plants differently. Can the movement speed of the plants be adjusted like for placing indoors? So when we get these plants set up, we'll have a version of it for like outdoors. Let's say if you don't want the plants to be wavy at all, you can either just spawn this again and tweak uh, the parameters for this, or if you want them slightly wavy, say if it's slightly
Okay.
breezy inside, you just change the Panna 2D here, for example. This speed
Yep.
value, you just either lower it or zero it. But we'll have a version of this that doesn't have the wavy plants. Say if you just want a scene that doesn't have any wind, whether it be indoors or like a very static area. So, yeah. The existing plants that are in there do have two variants, one where it doesn't have the waviness and one that does, but soon we'll have the updated ones. Also, a quick preview of what Raivi's been doing in the background as well is designing a new modular set from the ground up, using a much more granular set of pieces to play around with. Different lengths, sizes, rotation, or uh, arc sizes for like circles or spheres. Honestly, I think Raivi should make this almost like a background or screensaver. It looks pretty cool. And these are just only like the building pieces, ramps, walls, ceilings, uh, stairs, windows, doors. Not like the fancy stuff yet. That's that's definitely going to be made afterwards. It's just the very
Platypus
basic
asks,
ones.
what should be done with that do not delete material orb? Disable the slot or just hide it somewhere?
So this has the animation of or it has the material itself. It's because it's animated. So by default, if it's something that isn't animated or you don't really change the material that much, uh, usually
If I can,
materials are. Go ahead.
what I like to do whenever I'm using this palette is I will place down all the plants where I need them. And the only important thing is that these materials, because they're driven, have to exist in the world somewhere. They can't just be a part of the assets, right? So what you can do is you can take the foliage folder that's in there, parent it under something else, like either some kind of organization for the world you're working on, or just in the root itself, and then you can safely delete the sphere, and the
And they're
plants will
still
continue to be
wavy.
animated. Yep.
Yep.
If you disable it, however, I believe in some cases that might actually reanimation because it stops driving it at that point. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're pretty much at time.
Just
If
kind
anyone
of.
has any last second questions, or if you want to go off anything.
There we go. Make sure I got some other things quickly fixed here. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Also, thank you to everyone who came out to check out the stuff we're working on and asking questions. We're always happy to help with that.
Yep.
You have anything else, Aegis?
No, not really. I hope y'all have a good evening, morning, night, day.
Take it easy and
Yeah,
be safe out there.
you all take
Bye.
care.